Hey guys, I'm your host Lisa and you're watching Creative Adventures with Made by Lisa Marie. The goal of this video series is to educate viewers on practical ways that you can harness your artistic abilities and inspire you to push into your full creative potential. Are you ready? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Creative Adventures with Made by Lisa Marie. I'm your host Lisa, and today we're going to be doing a watercolor episode. Now, usually when I paint with watercolors over the past several years, I've been addicted to the 1862 Lucas Aquarel watercolor pan set, but today we're actually going to be testing out a new product, new for me at least, and they are the Turner watercolor. The Turner Artist watercolors. Yeah, so these things, what are they? They're made in Japan, and they're used primarily in Asian countries as well as Eastern European countries. They're actually not as well known in America. I think Jerry's Artorama might be one of the few carriers in America where you can actually get these paints from. So that's even cool. It's kind of like a hipster brand for watercolors, right? None of your friends will have them. But also they are, here, I'll grab them for you. This is the box set. So there's 18 colors in this box set, and this is only, I think, $25, which is kind of unheard of as far as art supplies go. These are really great if you're just starting out in watercolors and don't want to spend too much money on art supplies, but also want, an artist grade, high quality paint to work with. I've just heard so many great things about these. So they come in tubes, as you can see. So I've been working with pan sets for the last couple of years now, so it'll be interesting even for me to kind of switch to a tube today. So whenever I get new paints, what I like to do is always start off by creating a swatch for each colored paint. So basically, I will grab just kind of a scrap piece of watercolor paper, and then my regular watercolor tools such as some paper towels, a jar with some water in it, and then some different watercolor brushes. Perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of paint on my palette, and you really don't need a lot of paint. A little bit goes a long way with these, and you really, I would say, just need maybe half of a dime size and you should be good. And I'll go ahead and do that for each of my colors until I have all of my colors laid out. So now I'll go ahead and start making my swatches, and basically what I want to do with that is dip my brush in water and lightly blot it out, and then pull from each color and make a little swatch at the top. And this is really used for me to reference my colors, and it helps me test out the color, see what the vibrancy looks like for each color, and also the natural opacity. One fun thing to note about the Turner watercolors is that it actually comes with a couple different Maya colors. Now, Maya colors are literally were inherited from the Mayan civilization, and they're these ancient colors that very few other brands carry. And so on here I actually have the Maya blue, Maya yellow, and Maya red. Now I'm finished making the swatches, and here's a little close-up of how the colors turned out. I really am liking the color variety in this. So now what I'm going to do is start to kind of mix around and play with the paints. I'll try some wet on wet techniques, as well as trying different types of colors and mixing them together. And this is just something I always like to do when I am using paints for the first time. I like to play and experiment. This is just scrap paper, and there's no pressure on making anything pretty here. It's just for you to play and get familiar with the new paints. So right now I'm going in and testing out some of the blues and making a nice gradient. I'm using the phthalo blue and ultramarine blue, and I'll probably mix some of the cadmium red into this and just really see how the colors mix well together and make a gradient. Actually, I'm going to add some violet into that as well. And now I'll go ahead and add some red. And yeah, I'm really liking how this is mixing together. The colors are just so vibrant, and I'm really impressed with how easily everything moves across the page, and I feel like I'm able to have a lot of control over the tones and the values of the paints. So I've got my nice little gradient going on, and now I'm testing out the opacity and just kind of seeing what full range I can get from dark to light and from different colors, one color to the next. I'll go ahead and speed up this next part as I'm basically just kind of doing the same thing with other color schemes and testing out my greens and yellows, and then I'll go ahead and also incorporate some different dabbing and blotting techniques, as well as dry brush, wet on wet, wet on dry, and just blending different colors together. And also I'll do a little color wheel, or more color line, I guess, with 3 primary colors, and just really work on getting that full range. Now that I'm done practicing and playing around with my new paints and getting familiar with them, it's time to start my painting. For this painting, I decided to do a mountain landscape. Now, unfortunately, the beginning of my time lapse cut out, so I'm kind of starting at the middle here. But as you can see, I'm going in and painting mountains, and this is really the first pass through, the first wash. And the colors are really vibrant. I'm able to get some rich tones as well as have that range of dark to light so that it creates this misty feel. I'm mixing a lot of colors all together, and yeah, so far it's coming up really nicely. And now I'm going over on my second pass and adding more colors, making that sunset just really bright with how rich the colors are. I'm trying the dry brush technique with adding kind of chiseling to the mountains. The paints are taking really well, I think, and they're just able to build on top of the second layer really well. So something that I was even thinking about when painting these is what some of my favorite landscape paintings are done by various Chinese and Japanese artists, and I kind of wanted to try to replicate that style as well as mix it with my own as I was painting these mountains and kind of making them up in my head. One of the distinct elements of those paintings is usually these misty, kind of mysterious mountains, and I was trying to capture that in my painting as well, while using these Japanese watercolors. So now I'm on about my third layer, and again adding more detail and even trying to make the surface feel rough and textured, which isn't always
very easy to do with watercolor since they're such a soft medium, but I think I was able to roughen up some of those textures and use different colors, and it took to the third layer really well, and the paper was holding all of the paint in well. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Alright guys, well that's a wrap on the painting. Here is just the quick painting I did of kind of the smoky landscape. Overall, I really liked using these Turner watercolor tubes. I think the colors were really vibrant and they mixed really well. I also liked using the Chinese white, which was nice and opaque. This almost, it's interesting, it almost looks like I used like a charcoal or some type of like thicker dry medium on top of the painting, but I didn't. This is all watercolor paints. I really like these Turner Artist watercolors and definitely recommend them to anyone, whether you're starting out as a watercolor artist or you've been painting for a while and want to try something new. Really like these a lot actually. And as always, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to comment on this video and follow along with me on Instagram at Made by Lisa Marie, and also on Facebook at Made by Lisa Marie. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.